note everyone's attendance except Mike Hotz. We'll start with our consent agenda, which is approval of minutes of the August 14th meeting, approval of bills and claims, and a renewal of a Class C liquor license with Sunday Sales, Hunan Chinese Restaurant Incorporated. I need a motion to approve.
So moved. Second.
There's a motion and a second. Seaman?
Yes.
Base?
Yes.
Dirks?
Yes.
Haley?
Yes.
Fleischner?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you. Are there any oral requests and communications from the audience for things that are not on the agenda? Seeing none, we have no ordinances this evening. Our first resolution is the US 30 and Grant Road intersection improvements, property transfer, state of Iowa. And I will open the public hearing at 5:17. And Randy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The project, US 30 and Grant Road project, requires the transfer of 2 parcels of city property to the state of Iowa for the construction of the project. One parcel is identified as number 2, consists of a portion that would be deeded to the state of Iowa and a small portion that would be temporary easement. That parcel is located in the southwest corner of the intersection, the former Casey's property. So there's just over 4,000 square feet deeded and about 1,600 square feet as temporary easement. The second parcel is in the northwest corner of the intersection, and it's just a small triangular shaped piece of parcel that actually is to accommodate the relocation of the traffic signal pole. And it's about 1,900 square feet in size. That would be by deed. Several documents are before you tonight for approval to make these transfers. An offer on parcel number 2, an offer to purchase, which is at no reimbursement. It's by gift to the state of Iowa. Groundwater hazard statement, which is a formality, necessity. Warranty deed, which is actually for the transferred parcel, and then the temporary easement for the easement parcel. And on parcel number 9, the first 3, offered purchase, groundwater statement, and warranty deed. So unless there are any questions, I'd recommend approval of the resolution approving those documents for transfer of the property.
There's no easements for the parcel number 9, then I take it?
There is not.
There, okay. What are the easements for on the parcel number 2, Randy?
It's just for some construction purposes, for a little bit of land shaping
Okay.
beyond what the permanent property would be, the permanent right-of-way.
Okay. Are there any questions from the public? Are there any questions from the council? If not, it is 5:20, and I'll close the public hearing. And I will need a motion to approve the parcel number 2 deed.
I'll move to approve the parcel number 2 deed. Second.
There's a motion and a second. Fleischner?
Yes.
Dirks?
Yes.
Haley?
Yes.
Base?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Resolution is approved.
Thank you.
I'll move to approve the parcel number 2 easement. So moved. Second.
Okay, number 2, easement. Seaman?
Yes.
Haley?
Yes.
Fleischner?
Yes.
Dirks?
Yes.
Base?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
And I will move to approve the parcel number 9 deed. Second.
There's a motion and a second. Seaman?
Yes.
Dirks?
Yes.
Haley?
Yes.
Base?
Yes.
Fleischner?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you. Our second resolution this evening is the downtown streetscape light changes, and Randy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Before you tonight are 2 resolutions for changes in street lighting. The first is for the removal of 6 streetlights in the downtown streetscape Phase 8 project. These lights are all leased lights from Mid-American Energy. The reduction in monthly billing as a result of the removal of those 6 lights will be $172.86. The second resolution is for the addition of 5 streetlights in the Northridge 4th Subdivision Phase 3. And the additional billing for the installation of those lights, monthly billing, will be $122.65 per month. I have included in your memorandum an estimate of how the impact of these 2 resolutions on the current budget with the credit that was reported last meeting. We're certainly under the budget. We expect to be under the budget expenditure. Unless there are any questions, I'd recommend passage of the resolutions making these street lighting changes.
Are there any questions from the council for Randy with regards to the streetlights? If not, I'll need a motion to approve the changes to the downtown streetscape Phase 8 first.
So moved.
Second. There's a motion and a second. Base?
Yes.
Fleshner?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Dirks?
Yes.
Haley?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you. And then I need a motion to approve the Northridge 4th Subdivision Phase 3.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Haley?
Yes.
Dirks?
Yes.
Fleshner?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Base?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you. We will now move on to reports, and our first report is the 3rd Street Storm Sewer Improvements 2016 Group B East Basin. And Randy, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The contractor, Rognus Corp., has substantially completed the work on the 3rd Street Storm Sewer East Basin. His substantial completion date was October 4th of 2016, and that compares to a contract completion date of November 15th, 2016. The current contract cost, actually I do need to make a correction in that memorandum. The number that I've given at $799 is the amount paid to him by date, or by this date. The actual cost is 5% more than that because we have retainage, and that is $841,962.76. Compared to an original contract cost with change order of $878,404.90. So this project came in ahead of time and below budget, which is,
Well, again, Randy, how do you
Again.
keep doing this?
I don't know how we do this. But that's a good thing. We prepared the certificate of substantial completion with a site punch list of items, and actually there was only one item to complete, which we were, since October 4th, we've been waiting for it to be done, and it has not been, so now we have placed 30 days onto that item to be completed, so that final payment can be forwarded at that time. So unless there are any questions, I'd recommend acceptance of the certificate of completion.
I make fun, Randy, you really do a very good job of planning, budgeting, and work, and it's appreciated. You have had several projects come in my tenure that have been ahead of schedule and under budget, so thank you for your work.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Randy with regards to the East Basin? 3rd Street?
What's the one little item we're waiting on?
Oh, that's in the site punch list. It's sealing and some pavement joints.
It's the sauce.
Is all it is, and it's not many. They just don't come back to town for those little jobs. And now we're holding $42,000, and they need to come back to town to finish it.
Okay.
That's all.
They've been contacted, so they,
Yes.
okay.
I move that we accept the certificate of substantial completion for the 3rd Street Storm Sewer Improvements 2016 Group B East Basin.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Haley?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Base? Yes. Fleshner?
Yes.
Dirks?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you. Our second report is a report of an opening bid on a used greens mower at the golf course. And Jack, please.
Thank you, Mayor. We have 2 greens mowers that we keep out at the golf course. We have a newer one, and then we have a backup for when, if there would be a tournament in the afternoon, they can get both of them out, mow greens. If one is down, one is repaired. Sometimes you might have a mower out for a week. We have, for repairs, trying to get things fixed. So we need that second mower. It's not used every day, every week, but it is used. And as you can see, we get our use out of it. The one we traded in, getting rid of, is a 1988. So we're trying to get something obviously a lot newer. And with that, the requirements that we had for it was a 2010 or newer, 18 horsepower, power steering, 11 blade reels, new stock, reel stock, gas engine, and no more than 1,500 hours. August 22nd, we had the bid opening. 5 bids were received, and they are as follows. Since the time of the bid opening, one of them, the top one from John Deere, the 2013, that had the least amount of hours on it, got sold. And you do take those chances when you try to get a used equipment. So with that, the 2013 John Deere 25E, a lot of the same features, but a few more hours, and the price is reflective of that. So we're asking the council to approve the bid from Van Wall for the 2013 John Deere 25E mower with 765 hours for the final bid price of $15,500.
I did some research on this, and this 765-hour unit is really unique. You don't find too many of these used that are under 1,000 hours. It looks like a really good find.
What's a new one cost, Jack?
30.
So maintenance on these, we do all that ourselves?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Most of the time. There might be an occasion that they can't, they're not experts, but.
Sure.
Yeah. And that's when they get sent off. And it could be a few days.
You get 150 for the trade-in, is that what?
Yeah.
Okay. That was a lot of hours on that one.
Yeah.
That's from 1988?
Yes. That's what I'm saying. This is a second unit that's not used every day, but we got our use out of it.
Yeah.
So we do that.
Right.
Yeah, theoretically, this could last a very long time again.
Yeah.
There's always a concern about not taking the low bid sometimes. But if you calculate out the hours of this unit compared to the hours of the other units, this is the low bid.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And then the one thing to note, the Turf Works, their second one is a 2009, and,
Right.
and we asked for a 2010 or newer. So that one didn't meet.
Well, and there is something to be said for having Nexus in town, and Van Wall is here in Carroll. I like that. I don't ever like, going for anything John Deere, but hey, we're glad to have you here in town. It does look like a sensible go to me.
Any other questions for Jack? Otherwise, I'll need a motion to approve the bid from Van Wall for the 2013 John Deere 2500 E-mower with 765 hours for the final bid price of $15,500.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Dirks?
Yes.
Base?
Yes.
Fleischner?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Haley?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We will now turn to the vicious animal appeal hearing. And Dave.
Thank you, Mayor. As council is aware, your duty regarding this hearing is to hear all the evidence, receive witness testimony, and whatever evidence may be presented to the council. Your ultimate decision will be to either affirm or reverse the order of the Carroll Police Department as to its designation of the vicious dog in this instance. Of course, the mayor will preside over the appeal process. Procedurally, we'll start with the Carroll Police Department, and they will present evidence and witnesses as they deem appropriate. After the police department is completed with their evidence, then Mr. Sterner is allowed the same ability to present any evidence and witnesses that he may want to present. And then again, at that point, after all the evidence is received, the council is to make the determination of affirming or reversing the police department's decision.
Brad?
Okay, first I will read a couple of definitions from the city code on at-large and a vicious animal, and then I'll have Officer Fair present the facts from the case, who's the investigating officer on this. And we also have the dog bite victim here to present a little bit of testimony and answer your questions if you guys have any of her. First, I just want to read you Chapter 55.01, subsection 3. This is the definition for what an animal at large is. It means off the premises of the owner and not under the control of a competent person, restrained within a motor vehicle, or housed in a veterinarian hospital or kennel. Chapter 55.06 is the at-large prohibited. It's unlawful for any owner to allow an animal to run at large within the corporate limits of the city. And then if you jump to Chapter 56, it deals with dangerous and vicious animals. And the definition of a dangerous animal, according to Chapter 56.01, subsection 2A, it's any animal which has attacked a human being or domestic animal one or more times without provocation while at large. So those are your definitions that we'll be dealing with in this quick hearing that we have. And then if you have any questions about that or any more, I can answer what you may have. If not, then I'll have Officer Farrell come up to the podium and he will present the facts of the case for you.
Before you present those, your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you give today in this matter is the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Should we have your name again one more time?
Yes, Officer Justin Farron.
Justin Farron, okay, thank you, sir.
On August 11th, 2017, at approximately 8:20, I was notified of a neighbor's dog that came into another neighbor's property and attacked her dog, and she also got bit. Upon arrival, I spoke with the victim, who is Jean Lamberts. She stated that the neighbor's dog, brown dog, charged into her yard and after her dog, attacking and fighting her dog. Lamberts attempted to break up the fight, and in the process got bit on her left hand. The dogs were separated. The owner of the brown dog, which would be Christian Sterner, took his dog back home and put him away. Lamberts put her dog inside. Her dog was fine. There was blood all over her driveway from her hand from the dog bite. She ended up going up to St. Anthony Regional Hospital just to get her hand checked out. I went next door, spoke with Christian Sterner. He had the dog locked up. He apologized for the incident, said it never happened before. He said the reason they were outside with the dogs is because they just stepped out for a second to visit a friend that stopped by. The dogs came out. They never ran off before like that to charge or fight another dog. But put the dog inside. I asked him to get me some vet records, which he did not have on him at the time. And I gave him a few days, which he still never came down to the police department and never provided those vet records for me.
So you haven't gotten any to this day?
Correct.
Okay.
Still not today. I believe it was a day or so later, we served him with the vicious dog form thing. Let him know he had to get the dog out of the city limits of Carroll. Is when they ended up taking the dog up to Auburn. I believe Christian Sterner's girlfriend's sister lives up there.
Okay.
Mrs. Lamberts, the victim, was worried about rabies with the dog since there's no records. So I did go up to see the dog up in Auburn one day so far. I believe we do in a day of 10 days just to make sure the dog is still alive and not acting all wild due to rabies. I still believe I need to go up there one more time, which I was going to go up there Tuesday for the last time to make sure the dog's okay.
Do you know what kind of care Jean at the hospital? for you to follow up with
She
that?
did get a shot with the tetanus, and they put her on some antibiotics due to her the bite getting infected.
Okay.
Any stitches or anything of that order?
No stitches, but I believe she did have a side effect with the antibiotics that she took due to the dog bite.
Officer, do you have a copy of the notice of declaration of vicious animal designation that you want
I
to
do
present
not
to
have
the
that on.
council? Okay.
I do not have that on.
You want to make that part of the record? Then we can get a copy of it and present it as part of the record, even though you don't have it with you.
Correct.
Okay.
So the dog was not on leash?
Correct.
Was not
It was
being
not.
restrained?
It was not.
And the attack occurred off from the dog's owner's property?
Correct. It was 2 houses down where the dog ran off to. The dog that was attacked, that dog was on a leash and did have a leash with him. So
Was on, you said was on leash?
the victim's dog, yes.
Okay.
And on the victim's property or on leash walking?
On the victim's
on
property.
Okay.
Tethered down then to something?
The owner was actually holding on to it.
Okay, thank you.
The dog, the victim's dog is fine?
Ye-
That
yes.
was okay?
Yes.
When you went up to see the dog after the attack, did it make any approach towards you?
No.
No. Subsequent visits, has it made any attack towards you or
No.
made any attempt to attack you?
No.
Okay.
The house where I went to go visit at in Auburn, it's actually, they had another dog in there with it, and I believe 2 cats and kids, and it was fine around those also.
Officer, did Christian come down right away? He was outside with the dog, his dog. The dog ran 2 doors down. Did he follow the dog immediately, or was he aware that the dog had gotten away?
The victim did state that once they started fighting and she was trying to break it up, the Christian did come down and grab the dog and took it home.
Okay, but not until the dogs needed to be pulled apart.
But to my understanding, correct.
Was Jean's dog injured at all?
No, to my knowledge, not at all.
Mr. Brenner, do we have to worry about the breed of the dogs? Is that a question? Okay.
Have you received any explanation why you have not received the documents you requested regarding the shots at all? Have you been told they exist, or just, no?
They do tell me that they do exist. They just keep on telling me that they just have not got them.
Okay.
What specific part of the code were you, what specific part of the code were you guys looking at?
The vicious animal part of the code is chapter 56 in the city of Carroll.
Any other questions for Officer Perrin? We can call him back if there are other ones.
Sure,
Okay.
sure.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Before Mrs. Lambert comes up, I do have some photos of her injuries I'll give out to you guys. Yeah. And these were taken when the officer arrived of her hand, the injury that she sustained during the incident.
Do we know if these were from teeth or claws, or does it matter? I just am curious.
Bite.
These were taken that night, that day?
Correct.
Okay.
I do have a follow-up question. Was that 8:20 a.m. or p.m.?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Is that blood from the bite that's on the ground by the steps?
Yes.
That's what it looks like.
Ms. Lambert, if you want to just come to the podium. Maybe just get some brief statements about what occurred for you.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you give today in this matter is the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Please state your name.
Jean Lamberts.
Go ahead, Jean. Give us what happened.
I was sitting out on my front steps, and my neighbor was sitting on the cement. I had my dog on a leash. She's a Cocker Spaniel. And we were just sitting there. My dog started barking, and 3 of the neighbors' dogs came charging toward my house. The brown dog went nose to nose with my dog. They started to fight, and I tried to break it up and got bit. And none of the 3 dogs were on a leash.
The other 2 dogs, what were they? Do you know what they were doing?
They were following the brown dog.
What was occurring when your dog and...
I think they stopped it because it happened so fast that they didn't make it down to my house.
Oh, so just the...
And what happened was I seen them coming, and I tried to get my dog into my house, and it went that quick.
So it was just the one dog on your property, not the
Yes.
other 2?
Well, I don't know where they went.
Oh, okay.
I just seen them coming.
Okay.
Did the other 2 belong to the same owner? Or are they
I
just
think so.
other
I
neighbors'
don't know.
dogs?
I know they have 2, but I never seen the white one.
This has little to do with what we're doing here today, but how's your hand?
Well, it's fine, it's healing up, but I had an allergic reaction to the Augmentin, so I had to get medicine for that.
Are you doing better now?
Yes,
Good. Glad to hear that.
thank you.
Your steps, just to get an idea, everything's on your property there, correct? And
Yes.
It was your steps and not your neighbor's
No, it
steps
was
that
my
was with you?
property. Yeah.
Okay.
And my neighbor was sitting on the,
She or he was with you?
My neighbor
on your
was-
property,
yes.
right?
How soon after roughly about how soon after the fight started, the 2 dogs, how soon did the neighbor come down to get his dog?
It was pretty quick.
Pretty quick?
Mhm.
Okay. Do you recall the exact incident when that dog bit your hand?
Do I recall the exact incident?
That moment?
No.
No? Okay. I know adrenaline can be going
Yeah.
pretty fast. Okay. Any other questions for Jean? No?
Thank you.
Thank you. And then Christian's next. Chief, do you have any other evidence that you need to present?
I do not.
Nothing this time? Okay. And then for Christian Sterner, please come forward.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you give today in this matter is the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Please state your name for the record.
Hello, I'm Christian Davis Sterner. I'm here to appeal a vicious dog act that occurred against my dog. I have pictures if you want to pass this around.
Okay.
This is just a photo album of the dog we are talking about.
Okay.
I have 2 dogs of my own, and then I also have a roommate. And my roommate has the white dog that she was speaking of.
Okay.
And on the day of the incident, Keisha, which is my roommate, she came home in her vehicle, and then I let the dogs out to kind of say hi, like, hey, what's going on? And as I let the dogs out, my girlfriend told me that the neighbors had their dogs out. There was 6 dogs total, my 3, and then she had 2 dogs off leash on her property, which I believe is the other neighbor's dogs. So they were little dogs, and then she had her dog on her leash. They were just talking. And when my dogs, the brown dog was by me at Keisha's car, and it was the white dog that had seen the little dogs first. And he went to go over towards them, and I went to go stop him. And that's when my black dog seen him, and the white dog and the black dog went over to the little 2 dogs, and I was walking over to get them when my brown dog, the dogs were barking. She must have felt protective, because she was the last one to run over. And when she ran over, she did run immediately to the dog that was on the leash. And I ran over to get her. In the incident, I did not see her bite her hand, but I am apologetic for that happening to her. I did not mean for that to happen. I really wish I could take back even letting them out the door, especially off leash. I know I should know better. But
So, sorry, Christian, just so I get this straight. It's the brown dog that attacked
yes.
Jean, not the black dog?
Yes,
Okay.
my girl dog, and I believe the reason she was feeling protective is she is pregnant at the time. But it was the white dog that initially ran over first, and I went to stop him, and then the other 2 kind of followed.
Okay.
We got a lot of dogs involved with that. I apologize, could you please go through that one more time?
Keisha came home from work, and I let my dogs out the front yard to greet her when she came home.
A total of 3 dogs?
My 3 dogs. Well, my 2 and then her 1. She's our roommate, so she has her dog with us. And when I let them out, my girlfriend Corey immediately said, hey, the neighbors have their dogs out. And then as I went to go gather them up, it all happened so fast. The dogs seen each other. The other 2 that were off leash on her property were barking at my dogs, and that's what got their attention initially. And when they seen them, they just kind of went over there. And it was Casper and Jackson, the black and the white one, that initially went over. But they stopped when I shouted for them. But Princess, when I went over to get them, she just ran immediately to the dog that was on the leash.
Thank you.
Where Where did the other 2 dogs go that were not on the leash, that were the smaller dogs on the other property?
I believe they stayed with them. The neighbor was over visiting with her. They were talking in the driveway. She had her 2 dogs and her dog on the leash. So,
How many copies of that chapter 56 of everybody?
I've got one here.
I've
Do you
got
usually
one.
leash your dogs outside?
usually I don't even let them in the front yard. I have a big backyard and I am building a privacy fence in the backyard. It's not fully complete, but it is operational now. I can let them in and out.
You don't
It's
have
just,
any kind of underground fencing or anything?
no,
So
no, I
if
do
you
not.
take them out, they're usually on leash with you?
Yep. Usually I chain them out back. I have 2 chains for them out back.
Okay, that's what I was looking for. Okay, thank you.
How long have you lived in the neighborhood?
Princess is 2.5 years old. We moved into that 2 years in January. So she has been there her whole life. If I could also pass out, this is a petition to sign that we, just for supporters
Oh.
of the community.
One thing I hadn't noted yet was your address.
720 Northeast Street in Carroll,
Thank
right,
you.
right by Grand Park. And what's strange to me is Princess, like the Officer Farron was saying, she gets along with cats, she gets along with other dogs. I've kept her very social. It's not like she isn't around other animals. I've taken her to Doggy Day the last 2 years, the Doggy Dip at the outdoor aquatic pool. She had no incidences there. I believe it is, she's just acting hormonal.
You have a lot of people who have signed that some don't even live in the city. These are people, not just neighbors, but people that
yes,
know
just-
you're.
Just
you have
people who have
sitting from
contacted us
Arcadia and-
that wanted to.
So it's not just neighbors who are aware of how your dog is in the neighborhood? Okay.
To follow up with Councilwoman Seaman's question, do the people who signed this know your dog?
A great majority of them do, yes.
Thank you.
Not all of them, though.
Why haven't you gotten the officer the information that he asked you for regarding the shots?
The person that we bought them for, I have the slip. I bought her on August 24th, 2015. And she was the one that said that her shots are up to date. But I can't give you her word here today, so I have no proof.
That
of
was
it.
2 years ago.
Yes.
Shots are usually annual.
Yep.
So you have
So
never...
I have no current shots.
Do you take your dog to a vet at all, ever?
I have not.
Okay.
I have looked into, since this incident, about getting you that information, and they said they cannot give her a distemperament shot because she is pregnant, and they say she is too far along to give her the rabies vaccination. So, once she starts producing milk, it is too late to give the rabies vaccine. And
How far along pregnant is the dog now?
2 months that I know of, and they say it's 60 days generally, so, or she's a month and a half.
Okay.
Okay, I know what it means in my mind, but I need a definition of provocation. And 5601, was it paragraph 2, subsection A? Any animal which has attacked a human being or domestic animal one or more times without provocation while at large. I need a better understanding of that.
It's not defined in our code, so you'll have to use the dictionary to come up with the definition.
Okay.
I also would like to bring Shayna Hunsaker up here if I could. She's the one Princess has been staying with since this incident. Would you like her to come
That's
up
fine.
at this time?
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you give today in this matter is the whole truth and nothing but the truth? I swear. Please state your name for the record.
My name is Shayna Christine Hunsaker.
Thank you. Go ahead and provide us the information you have.
Princess is my sister's dog. I've known her since she was a puppy. She's the sweetest thing ever. I have 4 kids in my house, my own pit bull, and 2 cats. And she has never really been around cats, except for maybe once or twice when they've come to visit me. And at that time, I only had 1. And she's always been playful with them. She's never attacked them. Never attacked my dog, who, again, has only been around her once or twice. Same breed, pit bull. Princess is just, I mean, she's the sweetest thing ever. You'd have to meet her to really see her, trueness. Officer Farron has been to my house once to see her. She, showed no signs of aggression. She was very polite. She was sitting, wagging her tail, smiling. Same with mine. She's just the most sweetest dog I've met, other than my own dog. My kids, I have one that's walking, one that's 3 months old, cries a lot. She shows no aggravation. And if she does, she, will walk to a different room where there's no noise, nothing, where she can just lay quietly. My 1-year-old walks and lays on her belly. She doesn't do anything. She just lays there. My 5 and 6-year-old, they take her upstairs, play with her. I mean, I have absolutely no fear with this dog being around my kids. Absolutely no fear. Otherwise, she wouldn't be in my house. I really don't know what else I can say other than she's truly amazing. There is an online petition that we have started as well, or a friend of ours started, I should say, that has over, I think it's 1,200 signatures of people that, some of them have been around Princess, some of them, again, have not met her. Most of the people on there, though, have met her, and they'll tell you the same thing I'm telling you. I mean, the hormones might not be, the best excuse in the world, but really, I mean, that's the only explanation I can give you with her, is that, she's never had this. I mean, she's only 2 years old. She's never experienced anything like this. I know the first time I was pregnant, I'm a mom of 6, and the first time I was pregnant, I was moody, I was crabby, I didn't want to be touched, I didn't want to be around anybody. So, I mean, the hormones do play a big factor in with her. I mean, there's times with me, she's moody and, barking at me and stuff like that, doing her little talking stuff. But like I said, she's really is just the sweetest thing ever. And I honestly would not allow her in my house if she was vicious. I mean, I wouldn't. I wouldn't put my kids in that situation, let alone myself. I actually had a pit bull in my house that was vicious, and I told the other person that it had to go. my kids and my family come first, and Princess is just, like one of my little nieces running around.
So far, so good. Yeah.
Yes, everything has been perfect. I mean, she's literally showing no signs of rabies, no signs of aggression towards, my mother-in-law came to my house with Princess present, without me or my fiance or my kids. Nobody was home. It was just the animals in the house. We have to keep my dog gated because she likes to jump on the furniture, and that's a big no. So Princess and her were in the kitchen with the baby gate up in front of the doorway. And my mother-in-law just walked right in, has only met Princess maybe 3 times out of her entire life. Princess didn't bark, didn't growl, didn't bare teeth, nothing. My mother-in-law walked out the door, let the dogs out, didn't even have to put Princess on a chain. She stayed right out there with them. My neighbor has a dog right across the street from me. Princess went over, met that dog. They, was barking across the street. Nothing happened between them. And I honestly, I don't understand why she did what she did.
It happens.
It does, a lot.
It does, yeah. And it's unfortunate when someone else gets hurt.
Yes, I do humbly apologize to you personally. I honestly don't know what was going through her mind at that point. I do also, I did with Christian Sterner, I'm the one that gave him the information about the distemper, the vaccination thing. I called my vet, which is in Lake City, because with Princess being in my house, I want her to have her shots. So I have an appointment coming up. She has to schedule me in to get her examined and then get her, if she's able to, get her rabies vaccination. But the distemper, she said they will not do because with the pregnancy, it'll cause her to lose the puppies. So, but she did say as soon as I'm able, I work full-time and so does my fiance, so our scheduling, we kind of have to, I had called her right as they were getting ready to close. So tomorrow, after I get off work, I'm going to call her back and we're going to get the appointment set up to get her in there and get her examined and make sure that everything is good. And if she's able to, we're getting her rabies. But from my understanding, she said that's probably not going to happen until after.
After the pregnancy.
Yes.
Very full.
Yes.
Term. Yep. Any other questions?
Yeah, this is my first time. What happens to the dog, one way or the other here? I don't understand when we vote on something, what happens to the dog?
Depending on your decision,
Right.
that's going to direct what happens to the dog. If you determine that it's vicious, it will need to be removed from the city limits within 3 days of your order.
My understanding is that the dog has already been deemed vicious by the police department, and we are either upholding that or overturning it, is that
Correct.
correct?
Affirm or reverse.
Right.
Right.
Affirm or reverse. Right.
The we do not order the dog to be destroyed. That's not the
Okay.
purpose of this.
That's what I was
It's just to
questioning.
have the dog out of town.
Okay.
That's strictly all that's about.
Yeah, so if you reverse the police department's decision, that dog is able to
Come back.
remain in the city limits.
Is there a time frame or is it forever that the dog will be removed from city limits?
Forever.
Okay.
Then they have a right to appeal this too. He can appeal whatever we do.
Mhm.
He is allowed to appeal that, correct?
They could.
They could.
They would have to go to district court.
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, if I was this young lady, I'd be very nervous. Could we excuse her from proceeding?
Oh, yeah. I didn't know if there were any more questions for her.
Perfectly fine.
We started.
Thank you.
Started in over here and no, sorry. Yep. I was just getting to that after. Yep, thank you. Does anybody have any further questions of Officer Kiernan?
Yes.
Please approach the.
please help me understand why you feel this happened without provocation.
Why the dog attacked the other dog?
Yes.
I couldn't tell you that.
I'd heard some testimony from two different people here, both Ms. Lamberts and Mr. Sterner, stating that Mrs. Lambert's dog was barking. And that was when Mr. Sterner's dog then proceeded to bite the Lambert's dog. I just want to make sure that we're following to what our code says, and it is to be without provocation. Now, I did check out provocation a little bit. We can go into that later, but it was...
I
that's
understand
fine.
what you're saying. I couldn't tell you why the dog did it. I mean, I have a dog. Dogs bark at my dog all the time. My dog don't go attack them. I'm not a dog expert. I can't tell you why the dog attacked the other dog.
Well, there's several things from the folks at Merriam-Webster here, and one of them that I am circling around here is to stir up purposely to provoke a fight, and I don't believe that occurred from what I understood.
Correct.
That's where I'm struggling, fellow council members, is just to understand the without provocation part of our code.
I think one of the things you have to remember too is that this occurred on private property. It was not out in the public domain.
I concur the dog was at large.
Correct, and that's also part of the definition, that the dog is at large.
Yep.
Provocation is probably going to be a little harder to determine, but I think we've had an analogy similar to this before. If it was out in the street, neither one's guilty, but when it approaches onto private property and is well into that property, that's where the vicious definition also plays in.
I'm good with that large. I
And
see that.
And I remember you used the word protective. I think the dog on the leash being held by the owner, when it saw 3 other dogs coming in its direction, one made it, the other 2 went back, thank goodness. That dog on a leash could feel vulnerable and could be barking to be protective.
Back to provocation, was
So
the other 2 dogs approaching, provoking
I mean,
their dog?
all I'm saying is
But this is without
the one
provocation.
owner,
Right.
the one
If there's no
owner was
provocation.
doing, yeah, the one owner was doing what she should be doing with her dog, having it under control. It was not at large, and it was on a leash.
Sounds like we had a couple other dogs that were involved, and I don't know if that matters for a particular case, but did they stay on their property or not? Just out of curiosity?
No, they did not.
They did not?
The other
Chase
two,
me in the street all the time.
They're constantly.
the other two dogs certainly wouldn't fit the definition of attacked. 'Cause they
Correct.
didn't, so they're out for this.
Right, and-
Because there's,
I'm trying to understand this. The princess went past these other 2 dogs to the
Went straight
to the dog that was attacked.
2 doors away, correct?
Correct, right.
Yeah, 2 doors away, you said.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
And I think that was why we had made the changes that we did, was to have the owners be a little more responsible for those animals.
Can I want to ask though again, the 2 that were loose, the small dogs, were they on your property or had they left your property and headed in that direction? That's where I'm with Clay. Was there a possibility that they were barking and provoking?
They were on Jean's property.
So they had
They
not
were
left the
barking
yard.
also, but as soon as they started, the other 2 dogs, as soon as they started coming over, I went and grabbed them.
I'm sorry, you'll have to come forward and bring your information up, sorry. You're gonna
Thank you,
speak.
officer.
Sorry.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you give today in this matter is the whole truth and nothing but the truth? Yes. Please state your name for the record.
Joy Vanami. I was sitting with Jean on the sidewalk, or on her driveway, and my dogs were playing with Coco, which is her dog, and we were just talking, and The other 3 dogs came out, and like any dog would do, they would bark at each other. The black dog and the white dog came over, approached my 2 dogs, which were on Jean's property, which they always are. You know, Jean has no problem with my dogs being on her property. And they stopped as soon as my dog, it did kind of growl because, you know, they're not on the right property. I picked him up. Like, I grabbed my one dog by the nape of the neck because I'm like, you don't do this, you know. Did not hurt him at all, did not hurt my other dog. Both dogs were under control before the brown dog even came over. And they did not provoke any of this, like, so. They may have been barking at the other dogs. The brown dog had contact with my other 2 small dogs previously when it was just a small puppy. He came over, he rolled around on the ground. Princess, she came over. Princess is a sweet dog. I do know fact, because when I met her when she was younger, didn't growl, didn't bark or anything like that. But I wouldn't say that she was vicious at all.
So what happened to your 2 dogs?
My 2 dogs ended up going into my house. As soon as...
You were able to get them out of there before?
Yep, and the black dog and the white dog were sniffing. They weren't doing anything, you know, major, like nipping or anything like that. But I controlled my dogs right away as soon as they met on Jean's property.
And you got your dogs out of there?
Yep.
Your dogs are on a leash?
No, they were not. But since there has been some discussion on the neighborhood and on Facebook, my dogs have been currently on a leash because they were threatened to be punted like a football by some people who are friends with these people. So, yeah.
Yeah, it gets to be a vicious circle. No pun intended.
And I do apologize on behalf of them people. I did remove them from the post that she is talking about.
Need to keep it for the situation that it is.
Yeah.
It happens. Thank you.
Joy?
Yes.
I'm sorry, is your first name Joy?
Joy, J-O-Y.
J-O-Y, okay.
Yep.
Just for the council's information, did you say you don't consider the dog vicious?
I do not
Princess?
consider her vicious. I agree that she probably was hormonal. But like me, I don't keep my dogs on leash at all times. Probably should. But like them, no difference, you know? So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's more confusing. If I understand this right, you were bit, but you liked the dog.
No, she wasn't.
I
No,
wasn't bitten.
No, Joy was not.
your neighbor was bit.
Yeah.
But you liked the dog.
It's not that I like the dog. I just think that with the 6 dogs together, I think it was just a little bit of chaos and that it did happen, you know? I mean, I'm not trying to say Jean's in the wrong. I'm not trying to say they're in the wrong or anyone's in the wrong. It happens. They're dogs, you know? But I can't say that she was vicious.
Would you say she was vicious that day?
I did not see any growling or teeth or anything like that. I think it was just an altercation, you know, getting tangled up in each other.
Whether we like the dog, think it's vicious or not, according to our code, the dog is vicious as it has attacked another dog if there was provocation. Or if there was no provocation.
Without
pardon me.
provocation, right.
Without provocation.
Are there any other questions for Officer Farron? Any other questions for Christian? Any other questions for Jean? Okay.
Mr. Sterner, do you
Yep, sorry.
want to present a picture of your dog to the council and for the record? Do you want to leave a picture for the record, to put in the record here for the council? And how about that petition? Sure. And how about that petition? Do you want the council to make that part of the record? Okay. you just give that to Laura? And one of the pictures you can present to Laura then too is, okay.
He's gonna have her pick.
It's her photo album.
Perhaps we could copy such
Just copy.
Yeah,
material.
and he can
You'll
have,
get
he
back.
can have the photo back,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
You'll get the photo back eventually, we'll make sure that that happens. Yeah.
Can we express a concern? Can we express a concern?
Can I state for the record, the black dog that's in the photo with her is mine, not theirs.
Do you have one, maybe you have one just Princess? Yeah, that might be better.
We promised to get it back to you.
Here's a concern I have, is there's no vet records for rabies, and there's been no attempt to get vet records for rabies. If this dog had rabies, you'd be in trouble. That's my concern, that, you know, if you got a dog that bit somebody and you're asked to get rabies checked out, you should make an attempt to get it done for your neighbor's sake. And you did not do that.
Yes, sir.
That's a big concern.
Vern, it may be a concern, but I don't think it's part of the
I
elements of
I get that too,
of the
but
vicious animal. So just to clarify, I don't think you can use that
okay,
to make your determination that it's vicious,
okay.
just because it doesn't have shots.
It is concerning from a ownership standpoint. Though it has nothing to do with what we're talking about today with the definition of a vicious animal, it is something I would like to see followed up and taken care of also.
I can 100% guarantee that it will be followed further. She is getting her shots, whether I have to pay for it myself or not, and she's getting microchipped as well. When she has the puppy, she's getting microchipped. Because if she is not allowed back in town, she will be staying at my house, and I have my dog microchipped as well, so she will be fully.
Taken care of. Thank you.
I'm going to have to just say that I don't personally see a provocation here. Barking, every dog barks. So it did go across property lines. I see that it fits the definition there. Right down the line. Any animal which is attacked, yes. A human being, yes. Or domestic animal, one or more times, it's one time. So it does fit the definition for me. So I'm going to make a motion to affirm the finding of this being a vicious dog.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to affirm the definition, or to affirm the order. Haley?
Yes.
Fleshner?
Yes?
Dirks?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Bates?
Yes.
Motion approved.
Thank you. Christian, you quote. You didn't say anything.
We just issue the order.
Just issue the order, okay. All right. Christian, you'll get a copy of the order, and then there's how many, that you can appeal that order if you so desire. You can go to the district court and you can try to have that appealed if you need to do that, okay? And is it 30 days from when he receives it?
Yes.
You have 30 days then. And that'll all be outlined in the letter, and if you have some questions, call, please.
Do I receive that copy today or in the mail?
That will be mailed to you. Is it certified mail?
Yeah, it'll be issued to you within 3 days.
You'll get it.
And just to clarify, as far, there isn't any standard appeal process from the council's order. It would have to go to district court, and if you'd have to ask the court to determine if the council did something illegal tonight. Okay? That's the only way you're going to have it overturned. Have to go to district court, it'd be a district court action.
Thank you. I trust everyone has read the committee reports. I have no comments this evening. Any comments from the council? If not, I'll need a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
Fleischner?
Yes.
Dirk?
Yes.
Haley?
Yes.
Seaman? Yes. Safe? Yes. We are adjourned.